In today's video, we'll reveal the top 10 ESG-related risks that apply to every business in every industry, the 3 key programs to tackle those risks, and an industry insider secret in how industry leaders leverage those programs for their ESG initiatives. Hi, I'm Leslie.
And I'm Rand.
Welcome to our video where we're going to explore the strategies for addressing the top ESG business risks. Now, these business risks relate to all businesses, don't they? All businesses, all industries.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you're at on the planet, what your operations are. These are universal to you, right?
Okay.
Period. End of story.
All right. So before, I know you're going to show us what those are.
Yep.
Before we go there, would you please share with us, define what a risk actually is? What is a risk?
Okay.
In business?
Sure. Risk is there's a hazard that is present or has been introduced, maybe by the company, by their operations, whatever. And there's a likelihood or probability of something going bad associated with it and what could be the consequence. So it's a risk in simplest terms is a measurement of all those factors. That's it. So the top 10 global business risk, ESG related risks, right? That's what we're going to look at, applies to everybody.
Okay.
Period.
All right. So take us on a tour of what those are.
Ready to see them? Okay. So there's a company out there who put together what's called a risk barometer.
Okay.
And so I put together a table. I built a table comparing from 2018 to 2021. Why? Because we're going to share a strategy that will work to drive any company, through those risks. Should they eventuate? Should they become a reality for them?
Drive them successfully.
Successfully, absolutely, right?
Okay,
to get through them.
Okay.
To successfully manage them. And the idea of showing the ones from 2018 to now is they really haven't changed. That's interesting. Okay, a couple have, If they haven't changed, they probably won't. All right. And that's the idea is a strategy worked then, it works today, it'll work tomorrow.
Okay.
Right. And then there's a industry insider secret. We're going to reveal what the leaders are doing.
Okay.
Associated with ESG.
Okay.
And all this. All right. So the risk barometer, and they refer to them as megatrends. The first one is business interruption. That's the number one, the top 10, and it has not changed. It is still number one from 2018 to 2021. Number 2, cyber incidents. That dropped a level. Natural catastrophes makes sense. That dropped a few levels. Market development stayed static, as did changes in legislation. Fire explosion is on the board, dropped a level, makes sense. New technologies came off the board completely, as did loss of reputation, brand value.
Those are surprising.
Yeah, I thought that one would have stuck. It's off the board as well.
Okay.
Political risks and violence went from number 9 to number 10.
Okay.
And climate change, increasing volatility of weather went from number 10 to number 9. So the question is, who are the new kids on the block? Well, we kind of went through it, are going through it, Omicron, etc., pandemic. From not being on the top 10 at all to number 2, that's pretty significant. Okay, that's our new reality. That was that forced paradigm shift on the whole world. And the other one, macroeconomic development. So the focus today is not on, we could do a video on
each of those.
That's not what we're doing. It is the strategy. How do you get through these? How do you drive through these? And whether one or all. Right? That you have to face. What is the strategy? What are the leaders doing?
Hey, that's my question.
Okay. All right, fair one. Yeah, okay, exactly.
That's my question, Rand. What is the strategy? What are the programs that will address those business risks successfully?
Totally. You need 3 programs. Again, that's not the trick of it. Okay. So 3 programs. Emergency management program, security management, business continuity. You have those 3 programs. They're robust, okay, and you got trained people ready to implement those programs. You will get through those risks. Okay. I guarantee it. And at least 9 out of 10 of them, right? I would argue 10 out of 10. Okay, but those 3 programs will cover it. All right. Now,
so if an organization has their I want to say ducks in a row because that's just my casual nature. But if they have their ducks in a row with respect to those 3 programs, they should be able to handle those successfully. But you mentioned as well an insider secret.
Well, there's a tie into ESG.
Okay.
Right? Can you see it? maybe it's not intuitive, all right? But the work that goes into those programs, as you're compiling them, preparing for them, putting a team in place, you have to do certain things, all right, to have a robust program. And the leaders are going, wait a minute.
How can we leverage this?
Right. Can we leverage that with our ESG initiatives? Yes. The answer is yes. So the trick is the leaders are also recognizing that there's one system, just for efficiency, that will drive those 3 programs. One system. And the activities that are part of that system, the training, the prep, everything, fold into ESG beautifully. And hit, we have 25 elements for our blueprint for clients. They're universal to any client. Okay, 25 elements through 4 phases for a complete ESG program, right? The fundamentals.
Right.
And they see that those 3 programs, emergency management, security management, business continuity, right? The system that drives them hits almost all of those elements to one degree or another. So that's the leverage, right? Hey, if we got to do that work anyway,
why wouldn't we?
Why wouldn't we?
Right.
And that's we'll get into the nuances as to, well, what the heck is he talking about exactly? What's the trick, right?
Okay.
Because there is a part where a company has to make a decision, and it can cut both ways.
Okay.
To the positive, to the very negative.
Okay. Well, let's focus on the positive first.
Right. You got it.
Okay.
Okay. The tie-in or how it relates to ESG may be a very simple analogy. Those 3 programs, you need teams, right? Response teams.
Okay.
Okay, doesn't matter. Business continuity, security management, emergency management, you need teams.
Right.
So the company will pick personnel to fulfill certain roles within this system. And some of you might think you know what I'm talking about, right? That's fine. Hold the fort, because there's that trick in here that you're not aware of. I guarantee it. Okay, except that they're the leaders, of course. So you put a team together and you have them undergo training. That's great for the response side. But part and parcel to that training is they're going to gain a perspective that they didn't have before and recognize, whoa, a whole bunch of proactive work needs to happen even before an incident ever takes place. Meaning we got to get out there, or one of us or some, right, or a collective or whatever, has to get out there and do some very specific things. And one of them is meeting with the local first responders.
Right.
Looking at and talking with them, what are your capabilities and restrictions? What are ours? Here's a possible scenario of risks. How would we respond to it? You know, can we work and respond to it shoulder to shoulder? And maybe they discover things, right? So that's great for the response side of it, right? The program, okay? But then they discover, well, maybe the fire department air monitoring equipment is like 1,000 years old.
There's a huge opportunity in that.
That's it.
Right.
It's that simple. Okay, and that's a tiny example. So there's an opportunity to invest in the community in a meaningful way. The mistake companies are making when part of their social responsibility or in community and investment programs, they're investing for what they think the community needs.
And you've seen that many times over your career.
Yeah, crazy. It's been called in after the fact when there's been grand mistakes made. And in some countries, it's really hard to try to fix those. All right? So you need to engage the community to see what their needs are. What is material to them.
Right.
Right. And the companies are nervous to do that. So if you're having to do it anyway for your programs, emergency management, security management, etc., have the discussion while you're out there.
Right.
Okay, you need to anyway for ESG. You need to anyway for your response mechanism, for your response planning. Just put it together.
Right.
You got to do it right. And in order to do that right, your people have to be properly trained and aware.
Right.
Right. It all folds together. So think of the outcome.
The outcome is significant. The benefits are significant. Absolutely. Earning trust and credibility within the communities that an organization is working. It almost gives them license, doesn't it?
Here's how I've seen it. You got it. You got it. Here's how I've seen it unfold. So let's carry forward with the fire department air monitoring equipment analogy. Okay. So what have you done? You get them new kit.
Right.
That increases their ability to protect themselves, right? And in turn to protect the public better, right? That buys, in a sense, goodwill and trust and credibility.
Right.
Et cetera, et cetera. If you do this in enough ways, maybe with the police, maybe with public works, or whoever else is you'd be working with, community leaders and the like, you can get to the point, and I've achieved this with clients, where the community protects the company. They invite the company back to expand operations, right? To invest in a more prolific way, okay? It just, everybody wins. When you get to the point where the community protects you,
That's the pinnacle.
that's it.
Of
Then you
a
know you've
relationship.
arrived and you've done it right. Short of that, there's gaps. There's gaps. So you can use ESG as that vehicle to get there, right? And that's just on the community side.
Right.
What do you think happens right on internally in the company?
Morale within the organization, people would be proud to work with an organization
Yeah,
that
think about it.
does
right?
business in that way.
Yeah, they feel invested in, let alone they don't feel shy about going into the community if they had to.
Right.
Right. Oh, yeah, hi, I work for so-and-so company. No. Happy to wear the logo on the jacket, on the hat, on the vehicle, whatever. Right?
Right.
They feel invested in. And part and parcel to that training is they will gain tools that they can use in their day-to-day job, let alone in their personal lives. That is another guarantee. All right. Now I've trained thousands all over the planet. That's a bona fide. So
The benefits are
win.
Yeah. To me, that why is there any other choice than to move forward with that?
Right. Yeah, that's how I've always. There are certain perspectives that maybe historically have been out there, where companies typically go, well, what is the minimum
Okay.
that we have to do, and what do the regulations state that we have to do at a minimum? And they fail to recognize that the minimum regulation does not represent the optimum
or
in
a
community
leader's
engagement.
or a leader status or a leader ESG rating,
Right.
for that matter.
Right. In modern day. So we have to put that behind us. Okay. Use ESG as a vehicle for change. If you didn't before,
Here's your opportunity.
you have to now,
Right.
because the leaders are doing it, and they're happy that that gap is there between them and the next level down, and they're just going to keep on raising the bar. Quite frankly, that's wouldn't you? Right?
Absolutely.
We got a good thing going. We're enjoying the trust and credibility from the communities that we operate in.
Right.
Our employees feel good, et cetera, and we're prepared. We're appropriately prepared. There's a win-win-win. And we're not saying you got to spend a gazillion dollars, right, and have a whole bunch of Cadillacs out there. No, we're talking Impalas.
Right.
You know, if that's an okay analogy to use, right? It'll work.
Right.
Okay. We're not talking extravagant, and you can use it anyway for your ESG initiatives.
Now, one thing we haven't spoken about, you haven't shared with us,
The
is
secret yet.
that's right, what that secret actually is. So, what that secret is that drives those three programs.
Yeah. The
Right.
one system, and I'll say it. Okay, and do not shut off the instant command system, because you may or may not be aware of the rub. So the leaders understand that within ICS there's a suite of courses, 20 courses. All right, and they're having the team, right? They're people that they've designated as their team from emergency management, security management, business continuity, fully trained.
Now,
Not that every person has to do. No,
All right.
right? One person, each person doesn't have to do all 20.
Okay.
Okay, but collectively, as a team, they have.
Right.
All
They
right?
need to have that coverage.
You got it. That's
Right.
the intent behind the courses.
Right.
So that you're properly prepared. Okay. As a result, they gain the right perspective. Everything we talked about. That's what the leaders are doing. What about those who are not? What are they doing?
What are the what
Here's
we
the
call
rub.
the average and the laggards?
You
What's
got
happening
it.
there?
They're only doing 10% of the courses.
Now, it seems to me if an organization's only completing 10% of the courses, that they're not going to be able to successfully respond in an emergency, a risk situation, or an incident.
Yeah, let alone have any true meaningful hope to have a robust ESG program.
Right.
10%. That's not an exaggeration or under exaggeration, 10% of the courses.
So specifically, what is that 10%
What is it?
look like?
It's the first two. Many will recognize it. It's called ICS I-100 and ICS I-200. The I-100, learning the ABCs, learning how to crawl before you walk.
Okay.
Highly elementarily. Okay, just elementary, very simple. What are the acronyms? What does ICS mean? Very simplistic. The next course, ICS I-200, little more. Now you've learned how to crawl. Now you learn how to walk.
Okay.
By no means do you stop there, but that's what companies are doing.
Now, those two courses take less than a day
Less than
to
a day,
complete, don't they?
Yeah, together.
Okay.
Right, both of them together is less than a day.
All right.
Where then the courses after that, or the advanced ones, position specific, right? There's the other levels, 24 hours for one course.
Okay.
Right? The 300 and the like. Anyway, we're not talking about the course, but do you get the gist?
Right.
Only doing 10% does not equate to your team being properly prepared. That you're missing the intent of ICS.
Yet we've seen publicly sort of declared in ESG reports.
Our people are fully trained in ICS.
When we know that's not
We know
necessarily
they've
the
only
case.
taken 10% of the training.
Right.
Oh, that's
Kind of a false sense of security,
well,
isn't it?
yeah, maybe people would have other words for that as to what to call that. We can't do that. We can't do that anymore.
Right,
As
but
an industry.
Perhaps the leaders, the leaders within the organization, the C-suite, believes that they are in fact prepared to be able to handle a situation.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that where the C-suite wasn't aware. Their management, for whatever reason, told them, "Oh yeah, it's all we need. We're good. We're trained up." Oh, okay, great. And I've seen the reverse, where upper management wanted to do
Right.
the full suite for all the right reasons, even before ESG became popularized here recently. But then it was killed at the executive level, budgetary reasons, whatever. Regardless,
Right.
it doesn't work anymore. There's lawsuits all over the place right now, regs or not, about companies stating they've done certain ESG activities, finding out they didn't or did them substandard, and they're being sued. Like it just, we are beyond what the regs call for. We are beyond that, to get away with what the regs state to do at a minimum.
Right.
That is not optimum.
Right.
Okay, for ESG, it has to be done at an optimum level, not extravagant.
We're not talking about Cadillac.
No, right, yeah. The Impala, I couldn't think of a better analogy than that.
I thought it was just fine.
I thought it made sense. Okay, but that's what companies got to do.
Right.
10% doesn't cut it. Okay, and you get it done. What are the benefits? Your people are properly trained
Right.
the way you're supposed to be. I know this firsthand because I provide that training and have done it all over the world to thousands. Right? We know what we're talking about in regards to that and how to tie it to your ESG initiatives, because we did it before ESG became popular.
Right.
We were out there in the community doing high-risk negotiations. That's what we did for a living, right? We still do that. It just, now it's tying it together with ESG. And some companies are okay, maybe we didn't do the full suite before. This is our opportunity for change now because of ESG.
Right.
Okay, so I don't know if they have to save face or whatever. You didn't before, do it now for all the right reasons. How's that for a sum up?
I like that. So tell us what next steps should be for our viewers.
If I'm an executive watching this, and most of our clients that we deal with, at least initially, are at the C-suite level, I'd go back and ask questions. Right after this video, I'd ask questions. And the ones you want to ask are, what is our response system? Because you will have at least an emergency management program. If not, emergency and business continuity, you should have after COVID, and possibly security management. What is our system for running those? Chances are it's going to be the instant command system. If it is, if it isn't, that's another question. If it is, how far do we take the training?
Right.
100, I-100, I-200, okay?
Those are the minimums.
Those are the minimum.
Okay.
That's the start. Kindergarten, okay? Grade 1, 2 kind of thing.
Okay.
Do we take the rest? Yes or no? If not, right? What is a company? Clients who we've engaged who are in that situation, right? However they got there, doesn't matter. They want to do it right now. So what do we do for them? Because we've been asked, well, do we have to stop all ESG initiatives until we get our people, in the field and corporate properly trained? Not necessarily. Okay, we do a gap analysis first. Let's sit down, see what you have done. And it's surprising. They've been doing things they didn't even recognize that are applicable to ESG. And we can fold them in along with kind of that retro training, so to speak. So it varies from company to company. But number one, do that gap analysis. See exactly where they're at compared to the fundamentals, the 25 elements, through 4 phases. We make a plan. We make a plan of action that fits them, fits their company, their operations, communities that they operate in. And then we go from there. So that's what I would do right after this. Ask questions.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us today. I think that's a wrap.
I think so too. We'll see you next time.